Hey everybody, welcome back to Starfyre Gaming. I am Sir Joseph, and this is Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. We are in Drezen, and we are trying to retake Drezen again. I have a cat in front of my monitor, so there's that. We are trying to get down to here to help Hillor free up the prison. Then we're going to go to here to do the half-measured tavern, and then head our way back to the Citadel. A little bit of loot. We're gonna find our way to Hillar here. Looks like maybe through this little thing. Yep, that's probably it. Let's do a little healing up here.
Magritium Turinos. Magritium Turinos. Magritium Turinos. Magritium Turinos. Magritium Turinos.
That'll do for now. And we got a demon.
I'm prepared. I will resist.
Yet another obstacle.
There's quite a few of them.
Prepare yourself.
Oh, that is way too far forward. Well, at least went after blue. That's a
Into
good
the
thing.
fray.
F no.
Nice going, blue.
Onyx. Ooh. F no. You've crossed the wrong mongrel. Onyx. Ooh. F no.
Desna, guide my hand.
You won't survive me.
Alright. Got +3 scimitar, +2 ring of protection, magic scimitar, magic armor, magic ring, spear, and then more magic stuff. Still not over encumbered. his way in. Where's Hillar? There he is. Hillar the Pathfinder salutes you. Commander, you've risen from the dead after all, and not a minute too soon. I suppose that means I owe Anivia money now. I've never been so happy to lose a bet in my entire life. By the way, we've got a big brawl coming up here. We could really use your help. You bet I wouldn't come back? Why? Hillar looks at you guilty and shrugs. Truth be told, Commander, I'm a practical man, and I never count on miracles. That doesn't mean I'm not happy to see you. On the contrary, I suppose a miracle you don't expect brings you the most joy, especially if it saves you from certain death. You were supposed to free the prisoners. What are you waiting for? Hillar rubs his chin. I didn't expect it to take this long. These demons, they have no discipline at all. A bunch of them got bored and came in here to torture the prisoners for fun. I could have handled the guards, but not a whole mob as well. When you came in, I was just weighing my options. What's your assessment of the situation in Drezen? The situation is God's awful, to put it mildly. It feels like some thugs have taken over our home, and they won't stop rubbing our noses in it. Although now I'm starting to think it might be a good thing. Let the demons lower their guards. It'll make it easier for us to wipe them out. Let's go. We'll free the prisoners together. Right you are, Commander. It's time for drastic measures. All right. So who will be served up first on the great Orin Goffoth's table? Beaten but not broken. Ah, not saying, hey, make sure you help one eye. Okay, that's what that was. Okay.
You called? Make your peace.
Did we find trouble?
What I was made for.
They did.
Your struggles end here.
The Inheritor, guide my blade!
What's that?
I will resist!
No glory without risk!
Endure this! Did you see that?
All right. I like it when we can clear out a mess without having to expend resources. All right. Thanks, Commander. You're welcome. So we should finish clearing out. Not that much abyssal corruption. I mean, this is a heal up the abyssal corruption area, I'm sure. Just leave it for now.
Let us be off.
Actually, let's go ahead and use it. The body of a fallen crusader who heroically sacrificed his life for Galorian. Alright, there was no corruption, oh well. Okay.
Let's move.
Do not fear. Do not waver.
Ooh, F no.
Stupid.
Into
Stupid
the
face.
fray.
Ooh, F no. Forwards. Make every strike count.
Wow, that was some terrible shooting.
Ooh, F no.
Prepare yourself.
On it. Ooh, F no. We won't falter. You've crossed the wrong mongrel. Ooh, F no.
Almost encumbered. We're going to stop picking up masterwork gear now. Quick, run! We rule Drezen. Orin Gothta. Poor sods. They had so much hope when in that commander of theirs. I bet he was eaten by rats long ago.
I shall not be swayed from my path.
We won't fall here. I swear it. You won't survive me. Ooh, F no. Onyx. Ooh, F no. Strike with all your might.
Desna, guide my hand.
Good job, Blue.
Endure this. Onyx. Ooh, F no. We can do it.
Good job, guys. Now we're at a medium thing. Let's reload these. Drop the 16 spears. That gets us back under.
Follow me.
How did I fail that? Should I have got, I guess since I didn't go here first. That's disappointing. It's not like I took my time.
Something over there.
I'm glad I was useful to you.
There's the horseshoes.
March on. Onwards.
Let me help.
Please, allow me. Make your peace.
Excuse me.
Forward!
Took strength damage beating on her. That's kind of terrible.
I will resist!
Your performance is lacking. You are lacking.
Oh, out of these restorations and everything. Wow, this is just like... We are down on spells.
Make every strike count.
The Inheritor, guide my blade.
We won't falter!
Prepare yourself!
Right. So we need some restoration scrolls. Going to grab a couple scrolls of healing while we're at it.
I will lend you my aid.
Alright, nobody else has stat damage. Wand of greater invisibility. That's kind of nice.
I've finished here. Is there more?
Alright, up the stairs we go. Make sure there's nothing in these corners that can come up behind us. Oh, like a Balor.
will prove my worth. I will defend my dream.
He's got a 43 armor class. That's pretty high.
You've crossed the wrong mongrel.
Yeah, he's pretty high. I needed pretty much to not to hit him there.
The light take you!
Desna, guide my hand!
You won't survive me.
How many hit points does this guy got? Gosh dang it, Blue.
No glory without risk!
The hell is that? Arrgh. Wow. Not gonna try that again.
Make your peace.
There it shows us hit points down. Holy shnikes, Batman.
Endure this!
Into the fray! Hey!
Strike with all your might! I won't give up!
Not much I can do with that. That's not gonna
I
be.
will resist!
Oh, that's not.
Make every strike count.
Holy smokes, that was brutal. He just has a +1 long
Let's
sword.
move!
Profane him.
Together we stand.
My will is resolute.
All right. Well, Joseph's
I'll make my
one
own legend.
one turn of not dying per day is over. Drink some potions. Come on, mouse. Do what I want you to. Valar are tough. Keep on moving on. Head upstairs.
Follow me.
Where's the bell?
March on.
They said give the bell a ring, but I never saw the bell.
Onwards. Let us be off.
Here's the storyteller.
Let's move.
There's Irabeth. The story turns to you calmly. Long months have passed, Commander, but even while you were away on another plane, I could hear your brave heart beating. That sound never stopped for a second. Irabeth looks at you as unable to believe what has happened. Commander! You... For a while, she stands speechless. Finian laughs. You're a lively one, Grandpa Elf, always finding yourself in the most dangerous spots. But I'm glad to see you, although you'd be safer tucked up by a fire somewhere. How have you been these past 6 months? We spent that time serving the Queen to the best of our ability. But a week ago, after she announced her decision to proceed with the crusade, many of us came to the conclusion that we could not go with her because we did not believe that you were truly dead. We humbly declined the honors offered to us and remained here to await your return. It was an easier decision for me than others. I had encountered you in the abyss and I knew you were alive. But not everyone believed me. And then yesterday, I had a vision. I was leafing through the pages that you had collected for me, and suddenly I saw the future. Not the future clamoring to be told by the page in my hand, but your future. The future of the person who first brought that page to me. In my vision, you returned from the abyss, marked by new powers that wound around you like snakes. Your voice made the earth tremble. People and demons dropped to their knees, and I Almighty herself extended you a helping hand. But the only thing you were concerned with was the whereabouts of the banner, and that Queen Galfrey had taken it with her. The storyteller shakes his head. I know what I saw is difficult to believe, but I'm in the habit of trusting my visions, so I hurried to the citadel and laid my hand on some of Queen Gallifrey's possessions to try to discern where she went and where your banner is now. My story is simpler. Nevie and I both agreed that we should stay here to wait for you. We are supposed to serve the Queen, but our hearts are here. Besides, you are still the commander of the crusade, and I have no right to abandon you, even if there's almost no hope left. Although I must admit that the storyteller's tale about his vision of your imminent return seemed quite vague. I followed him here to make sure he didn't accidentally hurt himself. Irabeth smiles happily. I'm glad that he proved to be right, and you really have returned. Do you know where the Queen went? It wasn't easy. I see the Queen's future and her past as if looking through shattered glass. Multiple visions come one after the other, distorting the picture. The Queen is in mortal danger, at the crossroads of her fate, and her every step may prove fatal. But I did not give up, and fortune smiled upon me. I touched her goblet and learned that she was leading her army. Her Majesty decided to march for Iz, a bold move, one worthy of a queen who is not accustomed to hiding. This is an utterly anti-scientific method of acquiring information, and that's what makes it so interesting. I'll have to conduct a series of experiments involving you to establish how you react to various objects, to identify patterns in the amount of information you receive from them. The storyteller smiles. You have already said that, in exactly those words. You conducted your experiments. You handed me some shards to hold. Once you brought me a huge club, and another time you gave me a live hedgehog. And then you said the experiment was a failure and immediately forgot all about it. Really? Well, I decided to forget all about it. That must mean I didn't learn anything of interest. I won't remember this time either. Nenyo winks and looks around. So, what were we talking about? We must hurry to help the Queen. Let's take Drezen back, Commander, and then we march onward. Iz. The place sounds familiar. Can you remind me of the details? Oh, Iz. The city hangs over the abyss. It once was the citadel of legendary rulers, the capital of Sarcoursis. But now demons are tearing it apart, making a mockery of its former glory. 2/3 of its magnificent streets and proud towers have collapsed into the world wound. But the city still holds on, just as Sarcoursis holds on, defeated, but refusing to die. The Queen did the right thing. We've mustered enough strength to try to go on the offensive, for the first time since the First Crusade. If we don't recapture Iz now, who knows how many years we'll have to wait for another opportunity to approach it. We must leave this place. It is time for the final battle for Drezen. The storyteller nods. Yes, your arrival has changed everything. After we lost Drezen, it felt as if the light of hope had lost us forever. But you are just like the sword of valor. You are the banner of our victory. I was afraid we would not be able to succeed without the banner. We may not have the banner, but we're still here. We lived to see your return. You truly are our banner, Commander. To arms! Reading is hard. There's one more thing. The storyteller pauses for a while. In the shattered fragments that form her fate, I sense your presence, and I am convinced that the Queen could sense it too. No one can say what your next encounter will lead to, but there's one thing I know for certain. Queen Gallifrey's fate and yours are tightly intertwined. Perhaps that is what made the Queen write this letter to you. After I touched her goblet, I saw her hiding it in a secret compartment in the wall, and I managed to find it. I do not know what it says, but I can see the emotions that were tearing the Queen apart while she wrote it. The storyteller ponders for a moment. I think I will be able to tell you about the feelings she was experiencing in that moment. If you wish, you can come to me later, when everything is settled down, and bring this letter with you. We'll look into the past of this item together. Well, that was an ominous shaking of everything. Oh no, there are too many of them! It's useless, we're done for! Don't fall back, hold the line! A huge oily Naufschnee is waiting for you with his arms folded. Here comes the commander, kids! Ha ha ha! So, Commander, do you like what you see? You've arrived just in time to hear your friends screaming for help. They trusted you, and look what happened to them. Do you actually think you can rescue them? Ha! Who do you think you are? Who sent this army here to the you beast? We all serve our master Baphomet, Lord of the Labyrinth. He promised us Drezen, and your skin is a doormat. I'll rescue my friends. The Nalfshini burst into laughter. I'll rescue my friends. And how exactly will you do that, you pathetic Galorian maggot? What can you do on your own, without your army? Yell inspirational speeches? Oh no, I'm so scared. And then all the pathetic defenders of Drezen will be inspired and turn into an invincible force? Ha 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 ha! Yes, that's usually how it goes in fairy tales. Do you know what happens next in real life? We'll wipe your army out, and you along with it. But I won't kill everyone. I'll lock you in a cage and start torturing your friends. Once I'm done with them, they will come and spit in your face. They'll tell you themselves what torment you doomed them to. You are just a jumped up mortal insect. You are a nobody. Reveal the light of heaven. Let the darkness perish. Be gone from my world, demons! Power rushes through your body, almost ripping it apart. The wound in your chest burst opens in a spray of bloody droplets. The might bestowed upon you by the Abyss and Arilu Vorlesh erupts into this world, and you pay for it in purest agony. Light suffuses you, and bright and shining. Light and the desire to protect your world at any cost. Well, that was something cool. Is that Iamade? An incredible silence suddenly descends over the city. It is broken by the solemn sounds of fanfares that seem to come from far away, everywhere and nowhere all at once. All eyes are turned to the huge stained glass window at the city's main cathedral. It begins to glow with a soft light, and in the next breath, a lone figure steps out of the glass onto the cobblestones of Drezen.
Knight Commander, at last we meet.
It is Iamade. Cool. There is no mistaking her. Iamade, the goddess who has deigned to descend to the world of mortals. Your companions shields their faces, unable to withstand her radiance. The surviving demons quiver. The townsfolk fall to their knees, but the deity's eyes honor you, and you alone. Like that. Oh wow, look everyone, it's a goddess. I greet you, Light of the Sword.
And I greet you, Knight Commander. I suppose you are asking yourself why I am here. Gods must not interfere directly in the affairs of mortals. But what is happening here, in the World Wound, is no longer the concern of mortals alone. And this is proof. This fortress has witnessed so many horrors and miracles. It makes me wonder how it still stands.
For a moment, the goddess diverts her eyes from your face and looks out over Drezen, surveying the chaos caused by the recent battle and the manifestation of your power.
I know how much light and hope you have brought to the Crusaders. Your achievements are indisputable. But during all that time, your followers believed that their leader was Heaven's chosen. This is a bitter lie, and goodness and justice cannot be based on lies. The light that emanates from you is deceiving, and dangerously bright. It burns your companions, and one day it will burn you too. But I did not come here to reproach you, or to bewail the fate of the unfortunate defenders of Drezen. I wish to stop the forces of evil and defend Golarion, both from Daskari's violent rage and from Nocticula's insidiousness. But that is not my only goal. I have come here to restore justice, for justice is the birthright of all. That's why I hail you as a hero who has triumphed over the demons many times. At the same time, I grieve for you, as for a soul that is caught in a web of demonic deceit and villainy.
Maybe I did acquire my powers from a dubious source, but I follow my own path.
You may think so, but alas, this is not true. It can be, however, if you accept my help. In that moment, when my poor Herald was being torn apart by monsters, he found the strength to send me a message about what he had learned in the Abyss. You were in Elutionera, where you spoke with the Lady in Shadow and the Architect of the World Wound. They confessed what they had done to you, but they did not reveal the whole truth. Both you and this unfortunate world will have to pay dearly for the power that they so generously bestowed upon you. But all is not yet lost. That is why I have come.
The walls of Drezen shake again, and with a ringing laugh, a black shadow appears before the shining goddess, Nocticula in the flesh. Standing beside her is Arilu Vorlesh, who stares at the goddess with ice-cold rage in her eyes.
Who here has been taking my name in vain? Ah, it's you, the Inheritor. What's this? Our worst fears have come to pass. The gods are flocking to Golarion. This merry little tinderbox could ignite at any moment, reducing the material plane to dust.
The succubus makes Iomedes' title sound like an elegant insult.
I did not come here to fight.
Oh, really? I didn't realize you were good for anything else. Forgive me, that was unfair of me. Judging by your successes over the last 100 years, fighting is not your forte. After all, the wound is still there, as far as I know. So why are you here? If you have come to meddle in my affairs, don't expect me simply to stand aside.
I'm ready to hear what you want to tell me.
Do you hear me, Nocticula? You and your servant are under no obligation to leave. I have come here to shed the light of truth. Let us see if you both can withstand its merciless radiance. I cannot change the flow of mortal history by force. After all, the World Wound is their doing, although committed at the behest of the Abyss. But sometimes force is unnecessary, and truthful words are all it takes.
The goddess who was mortal not so long ago is eager to judge us for our sins now. My sin, to be precise. What lies behind your eagerness, proud Iomade? Righteous wrath? Or perhaps fear? Watch out. A simple mortal woman has learned how to grant powers to others. Powers which are beyond the wildest dreams of many Imperial lords. This must be stopped, forbidden, taken away immediately. After all, what need will we have for all these arrogant gods once we become their equals?
Arilu smiles coldly.
Silence. It's impolite to interrupt your elders. But you know, Inheritor, she does have a point. What are you going to do now? Break my weapon? Which has made so many victories possible, and only because he received that weapon from my profane hands, and the entire affair must therefore be profane also? What real reasons do you have? Save those born of your envy, your capriciousness, and your suspicions?
Nocticula's cold gaze makes Arilu press her lips into a thin line.
My reasons are quite real, as you well know. That is why you appeared here in such haste, is it not? You have woven a delicate lace of half-truths, Nocticula. From you and your servant, the Knight Commander has learned that he is bound to the World Wound, that he is slowly dying because of its influence, and that he is yet capable of closing it. But you withheld a crucial piece of information. You never told him that closing the wound won't save him from death. For this lock will destroy the key to which it is bound. The one who closes the World Wound will die along with it.
Fury rings in the voice of the goddess.
That is true. I tried to tell you back in Illusionera, but I was not allowed to. It is an unavoidable consequence of this process. To stitch two planes together as I have stitched Galarian and the Abyss, the soul of a mortal must be woven with the essence of the Abyss. To undo this seam, the original soul, the key, must be ripped apart. No one could survive such a process.
Arilu's voice sounds almost indifferent. She doesn't look at the furious goddess. Her eyes are glued to you. In other words, I'll die if I don't close the wound, and I'll die if I do close it?
It is true. Now do you see the perils of accepting a demonic gift? No matter how much power the Abyss gives you, that power will always be tainted by lies and misfortune. This is the justice I promised you. The right to know the whole truth, and not to be a plaything in the hands of abyssal spawn.
You hear genuine sorrow in Iomede's voice. Nocticula, were you trying to hide this from me?
Trying, you say? I successfully hid the truth from you for as long as I deemed necessary. Are you expecting me to explain myself? My goal is to close the world wound, not to grant you a happily ever after.
The demon smiles and shrugs. What if I reject this power?
You will live.
You will lose everything that makes life worth living.
You will spoil a brilliant endeavor and destroy the lives of thousands of mortals who will be devoured by the legions of demons coming from the Abyss. Aside from that, you won't do anything extraordinary at all.
What if I'm willing to sacrifice my life if it means closing the world wound?
Oh, how noble! For a brief moment, I even felt some regret that we demons are incapable of such lovely things. You see now, Inheritor? My little protege has more nobility in him than you expected. Shame on you.
Nocticula wags her slim finger at Iomede.
This nobility is exactly why I came here. To help the Knight Commander learn the truth, and to show him that he has been used. Besides, I do not believe that you have been acting for selfless reasons, Lady in Shadow. Honesty and nobility have never counted among your virtues. You own the main source of Nahindrian crystals, and your servant Arilu has learned how to break the laws of the universe with their help. Can it be that the ruler of darkness and mistress of assassins has not conceived a way to use this formidable gift for her own benefit?
Accusations, suspicions, all completely hollow, just like your bright-eyed pretty little head. It's a pity you inherited Eridan's sword, but not his sharp mind. I have but one goal now, to stop the armies of that lecherous billygoat and that gluttonous bug from strutting around my domain as if it were their own. I don't give a fig whether it will help mortals or hurt them. If the enemy of your enemy makes you a mutually beneficial proposition, you would have to be a complete idiot to say no.
Nocticula rolls her eyes warily. Goddess, can you help me cleanse my soul of this influence of the abyss?
Aurilu has planted a piece of the abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
Well, now I'm finally starting to understand the rules of this game.
Yes. The power that Nahindrian crystals grant you will bring about nothing but your own demise. The branches of the Tree of Sin are vast and verdant, but its only fruit is death. You will not be able to save yourself unless you reject everything that has been foisted upon you. Now you know everything.
No, we're not quite finished with the revelations yet. Few secrets remain to be revealed, but they will be worth the wait.
Aurilu's voice rings with surprising, somewhat feral delight.
Does this look familiar? Do you remember the similar wound above your own heart? I have given you enough hints. Come on, ask me the question I have been waiting for.
With a flick of the witch's wrist, something changes in her, as if a veil has fallen, one so thin that it was almost invisible, but which had clouded your vision nonetheless. Now you can see what was hidden before, a deep open wound above Aurilu's heart. The wound pulsates as blood drips from it. I received my wound because you, Aurilu, implanted the essence of the abyss in my soul when you expanded the world wound. My question is, why do you have a similar wound? Could it be because you used your own soul as a key when you first opened the world wound?
That's right. And this means that the world wound actually has two keys.
A smile dawns on Aurilu's face, approving and triumphant.
Good question. Just imagine. I have wasted so much time chasing the key to the world wound, and the key was right under my nose this whole time. Aurilu, my love, come over here.
Nocticula looks at Aurilu with fresh eyes, predatory curiosity written on her face. Aurilu does not look like someone who has been cornered. Without a trace of fear, she gives you a faint nod and then makes a barely discernible gesture with her hand and disappears as if she were never here.
Wait! I said wait! That little bitch. I knew she would betray me sooner or later, but I never expected such an idiotic stunt. But everything seems to be falling into place quite nicely. You see, you don't have to die after all. Aurilu opened the world wound, and Aurilu will be the one who closes it, whether she likes it or not. Although, someone will need to catch her first, and this will require certain powers.
Nocticula smiles at you sweetly.
Yes, Aurilu Vorlesh will pay for her crimes with her life. Her flight confirms that our suppositions were correct. But now we know that the world wound can be sealed with her blood. You have no reasons to remain indebted to the Abyss and indulge the Queen of the Succubi. Reject her gift, and secure your victory while being the person you were before Aurilu Vorlesh corrupted you. Win as a mortal, and become a legend among mortals.
She's talking rubbish. True, we gave you the power, but it was you who chose how to wield it. It belongs to you, and it will remain yours, so you can do whatever you want with it. But first, you must use it to close the world wound. You aren't going to catch this world's most powerful witch, and a half-demon one at that, with your bare hands, are you?
Both the goddess and demon lord stare at you expectantly. Before I make my decision, I want to ask Ayamede some questions. Well, we're definitely going well over the hour on this one, guys.
Ask, and you shall have your answers.
You gained your own powers from the Starstone. How is my power any different?
My ascension was not accomplished in one day, and even the test of the Starstone was only one of its stages. I did not merely gain power, I embraced a sacred duty. Your power, on the other hand, stems not from long hours of study, not from trials. It is not the natural talent you were born with and carefully honed throughout your life. It is the result of an evil soul's deranged experiment with the blood of dead abyssal lords.
You imprisoned entire hosts of angels inside the Wardstones. Why did you do that to them?
Every one of my angels volunteered for that mission. They all knew what kind of watch they were going to keep. They knew that it would be a hard and exhausting battle, but that the lives of mortals throughout Golarion would depend on it. Alas, angels' minds can be as fragile as the minds of mortals. In less than 100 years, many wavered, and wished to break the oath they had sworn. I do not blame them. I blame myself for allowing them to take on a burden that was too heavy for them.
Did you send the Herald to follow me to the Abyss? Or did he go of his own free will?
He acted on his own noble impulse, and I did not stop him. I also did not try to dispel his misconception about you being my chosen one. I do not lie, but both celestial beings and mortals can be mistaken.
She doesn't lie, sure. She merely withholds some of the truth. For the noblest of reasons, of course.
The demon grins. Do you know what happened to your Herald?
My herald, my loyal companion, was captured, and now demons are using him to attack Drezen. They're holding him in the Ivory Labyrinth, Baphomet's realm of the Abyss. It is a place I cannot go, not even to save my faithful friend. For doing so would start an interplanar war.
Deep grief flashes across the goddess's stern face.
Right now, as we speak, Baphomet's servants are torturing the hand of the Inheritor. Tormented and anguished, he reaches for you with his thoughts and his soul. I cannot tell if he sees you as a great unfulfilled hope or a last chance. But Baphomet knows well how to exploit such desperate yearning. He has turned my herald into a source of power to open temporary portals. They do not last long, but they lead from the dungeon where the hand of the Inheritor suffers, right to your doorstep. Baphomet does not need to lead his armies through the rifts. Now he can send them right here. As long as my poor herald remains in the hands of that monster, this will not stop. I cannot say if it is still possible to save him, or if putting him out of his misery is the only way. I cannot openly ask you to intervene. But if you decide to do so, you will be helping both yourself and the one who chose the martyr's path when he followed you into the Abyss.
Ever since I acquired these powers, everyone has believed me to be Ayamede's chosen. Why didn't you do anything to dispel this misunderstanding?
At first, I did not know who you were, or where your powers originated. This was revealed to me only when my herald offered up his dying prayer from the depths of the Abyss. And following his desperate plea, I sought to confirm my suspicions. Until that point, I had observed you without intervening. After all, your crusade was securing victories, the first Golarion had seen in many years, so even if it was not I who had sent you into battle, it felt unfair to undermine you.
In other words, our Imperial guest had no problem with your power, as long as she didn't know where it came from. She didn't even share her suspicions with her own herald. And after all that, someone dares to claim that demons are the most deceitful creatures?
You should not blame someone else if you base your accusations on vague suspicions rather than solid proof. You call my behavior deceitful. You, of all creatures, who kept the commander ignorant of the fate you had chosen for him? Indeed, the insolence of demons knows no bounds.
Demon Lord stands before you. Why do you not destroy her right here and now?
I could. But then every other demon lord would decide that he or she was next and stand against me. In response to that, the Imperial Lords would take up arms. Then Hell, Heaven, and Elysium would join the conflict. A war would break out, one which mortals could not hope to survive.
Why have you decided to descend to the world of mortals at this particular moment?
As I have already said, I am here to open your eyes to Nocticula's lies and to prevent more calamities in the future. You are at a crossroads now. I will not force you to do anything, but you needed to learn the truth and have the chance to cleanse yourself.
Why did Aurelu do everything possible to lead us to the idea that she was the key too?
The impulses that drive a soul as black as hers are beyond my comprehension. Perhaps she was startled by my arrival and decided not to bother keeping a secret that was bound to be revealed. Or perhaps she is up to some cunning scheme. Be on your guard. The architect of the World Wound will surely try to bring you down. For if she truly is a key, then it must mean that she will die sooner or later due to the influence of her own horrible creation. And that means that sacrificing you is her only chance of survival.
Explain it to me again. How exactly can you help me cleanse myself of the influence of the Abyss?
Aurelu has planted a piece of the Abyss itself in your soul. The only thing that can cleanse the soul of such a taint is that same soul. But I will be near. I will show you how to root out the demonic corruption. I am not a demon, and I do not offer any simple solutions. You will have to go your own way, no matter where it leads.
I have no more questions.
It is time to make your decision then.
Nocticula, I have some questions for you.
If you have questions, ask away.
Why did you try to hide the fact that closing the world wound would kill me?
Because if I'd told you the truth, you would have refused to do it. But you're not angry with me, are you? After all, everything has worked out perfectly fine. We found another key. So now you can live and enjoy your life. Provided that you catch Aurelu, of course.
Nocticula gives you a sweet smile. Now that we've decided to use Aurelu to close the world wound, do you still want me to keep the powers I acquired from her?
Of course I do. Firstly, you'll need those powers to catch Aurelu and bring her to Threshold. Surely you don't think she'll willingly fall into your hands, and the demonic hordes will politely make way for you. And secondly, the powers Aurelu gave you protect you from dying before your time. None of us want the wound to kill you prematurely.
Nocticula flashes a predatory grin at you.
You are extremely useful to me alive. After all, if you let Aurelu slip through your fingers, we can always go back to the original plan for closing the wound.
Aurelu deliberately led us to the idea that she was the key too. Why?
Apparently, she understood that her secret was about to be revealed anyway, so she decided to leave in style. What human female over 100 years old wouldn't feel flattered at being the center of attention? Although she could have other reasons. She obviously wanted us to understand everything and immediately rush off in pursuit of her. She's probably been preparing for a war of all against all for a long time, and now she wants to wage it on her own terms. Expect treachery and traps wherever you go.
Where could Aurelu have fled to?
Now, let's think. She's hidden in the abyss before. She won't dare to return there now. Not only to my realm, but to any other either. Even if Baphomet and Discari both take it upon themselves to guard Aurilu personally, that won't stop me from sneaking in, slitting her throat, and leaving undetected. And she knows that.
Nocticula taps her manicured claw on her chin.
If I were her, I would hide in a place where the powers of her enemies were uncertain, and her own power was close to unlimited. I say you should look for her here, in the World Wound.
Aren't you afraid to stand in the presence of the goddess?
Tut tut, how rude! I wouldn't say the girl is that hideous. I admit her face is far from perfect. Her body too, to be honest. But all in all, not bad. I've seen worse.
Nocticula pointedly looks Iomede up and down.
Your theatrics are too transparent to offend me, demon. At least, they can hardly offend me more than the very fact of your existence.
Do you really plan to use me to become a goddess yourself?
That is nothing but the wild speculation of a little girl who gained celestial power through no merit of her own and now fears that others may do the same, forcing her to share her place in the spotlight. Do I want to become a goddess? Of course I do. Who wouldn't? Can you help me with that? Sadly, no. Of course, Aurilu used to blather on about how her brilliant invention could bake gods like pies. But between you and me, the cleverer the inventor, the larger their ego becomes. So far, she hasn't managed to create anything stronger than you. And, no offense, but you're no match for any deity.
I have no more questions.
Very well. It's time for you to make your decision then.
I want to ask my companions for advice. What do you all think about this?
Perhaps your power came from the abyss, but your beautiful soul has cleansed it of all evil. Don't reject this power, for you have already proved that you are worthy of it.
Frankly, your mythic power brings more trouble than true pleasure. And I see no sense in holding on to something that doesn't bring pleasure.
Your power doesn't lie in magic tricks. You know it doesn't. Your real power is inside you. You can win without tricks. I will help you.
Maybe I'm missing something here, but how can a demon grant the power of an angel? Listen, if you had no goodness inside, you couldn't have reached Lariel in the caves beneath Canabras. I remember how once, long ago, you showed me the light of heaven. Maybe I didn't believe in you right away, but I believe in you now. You've proven time and again that you deserve the light of heaven. You are my commander, marked by an angel. This power rightfully belongs to you.
As a member of the Order of the God Claw, I ought to advise you to obey the will of the goddess, or at least to take it into consideration. But as your companion, who has spent a lot of time with you, I can't help but notice you have reforged demonic Nahindrian power into angelic power. And this is a sign of order triumphing over chaos. Perhaps there is room for maneuver here. That is why I advise you to weigh all the options and make your own decision.
It's not my place to gainsay the will of my goddess, but the thing is, I can sense evil. And I don't sense it in your power at all. I just don't. Whatever those horned monsters had planned for you, you definitely aren't playing by their rules.
Sela looks a little confused, but her voice is firm.
You gave hope to the Crusaders in their darkest hour, even when all seemed lost and only despair and death lay ahead. With these powers, you have saved countless lives, and you will save more. Of course you must keep them.
Someone pinch me. We are standing in the presence of the most pompous goddess in the world, debating whether we should listen to her or send her packing along with her invaluable opinions. I shall remember this moment for the rest of my life. Even as I stand in Pharasma's court, I shall tell this story to anyone who will listen. As to your original question, I'll be honest with you. Your power turns my stomach like sour prunes. Reject it, it can't hurt.
Ugh, these dames are tough. But Iomade is as tough as you. If she tells you to do something, you better do what she says. I can feel it in my tail. You're good and righteous and all that, so do what the righteous goddess is telling you. Maybe it'll even make my life a smidge easier. After you, become more like a human.
Woljif casts a sideways glance at Nocticula and Iomade and moves closer to you so he can whisper.
Experience tells me that it's wiser to trust yourself and your own abilities. You can't trust what clients tell you. One day you're a hero, the next you're working for the enemy. Sorry, but it all looks like a setup to me. First they tell you to lay down your weapons, and then, once you're unarmed, they finish you off in some back alley.
Your powers are interesting from a theoretical point of view. You are an experiment started by Aurilu Vorlesh, and terminating it before it is complete would be foolish, not to mention impolite.
Oh, I've made my decision, though I really haven't.
I am waiting for your answer. I hope you will choose wisely.
Quite right. Make your choice, and make it the right one.
Choosing a mythic path. Choice will greatly affect the following events. However, no matter what your reasons for choosing one of the paths, be it for powers or aesthetic preference, remember there are no wrong choices. So I could do an angel, a legend. The demon and trickster are both grayed out. Well, I don't know which one I want. Do I want to stay being an angel or become a legend? Angel legend, angel legend, angel legend, angel legend. These ones are locked out. Angel legend, angel legend, angel legend. I don't know which to do. Angel legend, angel legend, angel legend, angel legend, angel legend. Yeah, but, Angel. All right. Mythic flawless attack. Toughness provides you twice as many hit points. In addition, when you are below 0 hit points, you become. I just don't get the below 0 hit points. It makes it harder for you to die. Let's go with that. Let's see. Weapons of the angel become a bane of all guile. A creature wielding them. Healing spells cast by the creature now remove mind affecting effects. Creatures that commonly use compulsion suffer an additional 50% damage from the wielder as holy damage. Let's see. Abolish poison. Death, Bane. Bane of all demons, +2. That one's... Heavenly Host. Benefit Sword has an ability to all outs with a 50-foot radius. Attacks of the owner of the imbued weapon now additionally deal weapon damage. Haste grant 2 additional attacks. I like the Demon Bane. We're going to go with the Demon Bane. You sacrificed your own humanity to serve the forces of good, Goddess. Do not judge me if I choose the same.
It pains me to hear that. But I am not your judge, and I shall not stand in your way. At least not until I see that Golarion is under threat. You have chosen your path. Farewell.
A strange expression appears briefly on the luminous face of the goddess, something like amazement mixed with understanding. She nods slowly.
Lady Aurelia's experiment goes on. You know, boy, if it is successful, I will immortalize it in my encyclopedia, and I will mention your name too. If that happens, then I suppose I'll finally have to try to remember it.
Nenyo ponders for a while, then sighs.
It would have been so foolish for you to reject your powers. So many victories, so many achievements lie ahead for you. Well, go now. Capture Aurilu, and prove which of you is making the best use of her invention. I'll be watching you.
Nocticula gives you a playful wink. The Demon Lord blows you a kiss and disappears. So I never found the Bell of Mercy, so it didn't give me the Bell of Mercy. Wow, we are long into this one, guys. I do sorry. Apologize for this one going well beyond the hour. Come on, finish loading. Just a little more. All right, you're there. It says you're there. Holy smokes, we are still in conversation mode here. It's just showing us that everything's back to normal. That was weird.
Rest is in order.
Oh, come on. Anivia bounds up to you, rubbing her tired eyes, but with a wide smile plastered on her face. I can't believe it. Victory! And what a victory! Light has returned to Drezen, and the demons are running, crying back to their demon mommies. Drezen has been lost again and again, but again and again we win it back. You win it back, Commander. For light, for truth, for life. What is the city like now? It has been cleared of demons, and it's shining bright as a temple with 1,000 candles. I don't think it looked this good even back when it was first founded. This isn't victory yet. We knocked back the demons, but they could return and continue tormenting the innocent. You betcha. Ha! Those scum didn't know what they were messing with. What's the situation on the front? Unknown. Her Majesty mustered all the troops she could, raised the sword of valor, and advanced on the demons. There's been no word from her since she left. Perhaps she's boldly taking Iz even now. Maybe her bones are already out there being picked clean by demons. We don't know, and I doubt anybody except you will be able to find out. But that's not all. Baphomet's minions keep taking swipes at us. The scumbags are holed up somewhere. The Ivory Labyrinth, I'll bet. And they'll keep opening portals in different spots, dropping off dozens of units and then closing the portals before we can get to them. We lost more scouts than I'd care to admit, but we figured out how they're pulling off this little trick. So here's what I'm thinking. Maybe you could get to one of those portals in time. You could be ready for them somehow, and that when one opens, you could get inside and crack some skulls. They might even be holding a portal, the poor Herald in there. Wow, I can't read. If he's alive, you can free him. How do you feel after seeing the goddess in the flesh? My ears are still ringing from those trumpets. After witnessing that sight, I don't think I could be surprised by anything ever again. You dared to go against the goddess, and she forgave you. My mind can't comprehend it. Irabeth laughs awkwardly. I was worried your impudence would be the death of us all, but now I think that you are strong enough to stand against the abyss even without heaven's help. As you just heard, I have to catch Arilu. Any idea where I should look for her? Not especially. She's been roaming the abyss all this time, but now that avenue's closed to her. Nocticula and the other demon lords are all slavering for a piece of her. I think she's someplace around here, in the wound. Some nasty little place like Iz, or maybe she went as far as Threshold. An entire army of demons enhanced by Naharindian crystals was being sent here. It's being led by a demon named Mutasafin. Do you know anything about that? Scouts reported the movements of a large demon army far to the southwest of Drezen. They were marching across a dried-out lake. There used to be a Sarkorian holy place there, I've heard. But where they went, nobody knows. They're not headed for us, that's for sure. At least not yet. Thank you for your report. I'll be setting off without delay. Go on and fly. Chase the demons away from us. Now I know for sure the 5th Crusade will be the last. It's all over for the fiends. They finally met an enemy they could never have seen coming. Just do one thing for me. Come back to Drezen, if you can. Folks are drawn to your light. Those who left are coming back, and new people are arriving. They need someone to tell them what to do. They need someone to show them. They need someone to lead them forward. Oh, gosh, come on, stop with all the conversation so we can end this video. Regil looks slightly more tense than usual. Joseph Starfyre, I have fairly important news. I will do my best to be brief. The Hell Knight orders have not reacted well to the development I mentioned in my last report, specifically regarding the true source of your power. The very notion that they have been cooperating with a weapon forged by Arilu Vorlish and Nocticula has caused discontent. The orders have not issued any official edicts, but many chapters and high-ranking knights have been recalled from their assignments and barricaded themselves in one of our outposts. The one you know, in fact. I suggest you go there and resolve the matter with the orders and the Crusaders. This is a matter of importance. What kind of reaction should I expect from the Hell Knights? Any up to and including a formal declaration of war, which is why you must go to the outpost and resolve this issue before it devolves into open conflict. How could you even think that reporting this to the Order would be a good idea? Do you really think I could withhold information from my superiors? Do not degrade me or yourself with such a ridiculous suggestion. Okay. Very well, I will go there as soon as possible. Excellent. That is all I had to report, so I'll return to my duties, and you may attend to your other affairs. Are we done? No, we're not done yet, of course not. Gosh dang it. Joseph Starfyre. The succubus gazes at you despondently. She always speaks quietly, but now her voice is barely above a whisper. In my dream, a fire destroyed almost everything. The only thing that survived was the table. I've returned to my dream world so many times. The nightmare still lurks there, but I want to understand why this table was so important. Why did it survive the fire? I can't figure out what makes it special. It looks like a simple piece of furniture. It just stands there. What am I supposed to do? What am I doing wrong? Is your nightmare still attacking you? Not openly. It still lurks in the shadows, gnawing at my soul from within. It never leaves me alone, but it hasn't tried to fight me again. Would you like to enter your dream again? I don't think that it will help. We've already been there together, and no, there must be something else. I must look at it from a different side. But how do you find the other side of a dream? The other side of a dream is called reality. Perhaps this table represents something that you were supposed to do in real life. You might be right. Arushalia brightens considerably. But what exactly should I do? Find a table? Buy one? Perhaps I should learn to craft of a carpenter and make one myself. So many possibilities, and I don't even know where to begin. Where did this table come from? Where did it come from? Aroshalea considers your question. She taps her lips thoughtfully. Oh, I remember now. There was a loaf of bread on that table. That was Anevia's dream, remember? She said she wanted to learn how to bake. The bread went up in flames along with all the other fragments of the dreams, but the table remained. Perhaps Desna can help you solve this riddle. But she was the one who asked me to solve it. I don't think she's going to tell me the answer. I must find out myself. But how? If this table came from Anevia's dream, perhaps you should talk to her. I've been living among mortals for a while now, but there's still so much I don't understand about your kind. How you live, what you dream about. You're right, we should ask Anevia. It is part of her dream, after all. That's a great idea, but... The succubus shifts from foot to foot reluctantly. Could you please talk to her instead? I don't even know how to begin a conversation like this. It is so personal. Please ask her, and I will stand nearby. Are we done? No. Commander, the Inquisitor greets you with a bow. I am sincerely gladdened by your return, and I was delighted to hear of your recent victories. It is a shame that my duties has kept me away from the front line. I would like to take up a place in your ranks of your Crusaders, and perhaps I will still have a chance to do so. But before that happens, we must address another issue. I suppose you have already guessed what has brought me here. We parted ways after the discovery we made at Count Arundel Estate. You and I both know that the Count became a conduit for an unknown entity which I call the Other. I retreated to Nerosian and went beyond Mendev's borders, looking for mentions of such entities and ways to fight them. And now that my search has borne fruit, I am ready to tell you all about it. Great. Why did your search take so long? Because we are dealing with a rare phenomenon, a true anomaly. The Mendev Inquisition has amassed substantial experience in fighting demons. But here we are up against something completely different. I had to trawl through our archives searching for cases that seemed in any way similar. I sent inquiries to friendly temples and reached out beyond our nation's borders to experts on the unknown. It was dull and painstaking work, but it was necessary. So what have you learned about the Other? I must be honest. I still don't know what it is. However, I've managed to find some evidence of similar incidences. Individuals who, in a horrible moment in their life, became a gateway for an unknown entity. The most curious part is that all these cases appear almost sequential. They happen in various corners of Golarion, but no two incidents ever occurred at the same time. This leads me to think that we are dealing with a single entity, one that has been secretly present in our world for a long time, merely changing its gateways on occasion. While I do not know what this entity is, I managed to find something of great value. A Varsarian arcanist managed to pick up a trail of the other and invented a ritual to weaken and bind it. She died under very suspicious circumstances. Her decapitated body was found in her laboratory. Her head was never found. But her notes survived, including a description of the ritual. I have discussed it with several highly esteemed experts on magic, and I am inclined to consider that this is a reliable weapon. We can use the ritual to lure the entity out, bind it, and probably exterminate it. But to do that, I'll need your assistance, Commander. What do we need to do? We must carefully prepare the ritual and then bring Count Arendae to the designated location. The ritual will lure out the other, weaken its connection with the Count, and bind its essence to our world like an anchor. The last part is especially important. All the evidence indicates that while the gateway is active, the other can travel freely between the material plane and some unknown space that lies beyond. If we fail to bind the other with the ritual, it will either escape or, in the worst case scenario, drag us into its realm. Hence, we must lure it out, and then, I suppose, defeat it. There's one more issue. Aside from the fact that we'll have to fight this incredibly powerful and horrifying creature, the other's suspicion must not be aroused until the last moment, and this means that the Count must know nothing at all. The best course of action would be to take the Count to the designated location without telling him the reason for their journey. Then, we must frighten him and make it appear as his life is in danger. The other will believe that this gateway is in peril, and then, I hope, it will show up to protect it. The ritual circle will work as a trap, but this is crucial, and I stress this, that we convince the entity that we know nothing of its existence, and that it is Darien who is in danger, not the entity itself. Otherwise, there is no knowing what may happen, and I do not want to give the adversary a chance to outmaneuver us. Why do you think the other will appear to protect Darien? The Count has been in danger many times before, and nothing special has happened. You have a special connection with your companions, Commander. You share part of your mythic powers with them. They journeyed through the abyss with you and survived to tell the tale. I believe the other understands this. It also must understand how dangerous it would be if you were to become not a benefactor but an enemy to its gateway. I am certain that it will react to a threat coming from you as opposed to ordinary encounters with demons and cultists. How dangerous is it? It is extremely dangerous, which is why I have come to you with this. All the evidence I've collected on the other, in particular, the list of victims, which include powerful demons and strong mortal mages, make me certain that we are dealing with something extraordinary here. It is stronger and more dangerous than Balor's and other generals of the Abyss. I also suspect that the oracle powers the Count has developed come from the other. As a rule, only gods, imperial lords, and other extremely powerful beings are capable of granting such abilities. I know no one except for you who could challenge such an entity, so I'm asking you for your help, for the safety of all who dwell in Golarion. However, I believe that we can shore up our strategic position if the other doesn't suspect we're preparing a trap until the very last moment. Even the most dangerous of creatures become more vulnerable when caught off guard. The main thing we must do is to make a methodical approach and stay alert. I think that is within our abilities. Are you sure the other is hostile towards us? In all this time, it has never tried to attack me. I am certain that this entity is dark and truly evil. The evidence of my instincts and my instincts as an inquisitor are undeniable. Whenever the other manifests itself, strange and ominous things begin to happen. In particular, I am positive that this is responsible for all the magically decapitated corpses. The ones that were found in Heaven's Edge after the tragedy and in Canabras after Discari's attack. In both places, some of the corpses belonged to civilians and others to demons, and in Canabras, some of the victims were cultists. I am convinced that the other is pursuing some interest of its own, and thus, for it, and thus far, it has ruthlessly exterminated any who learned of its existence. And now, you and I know that it exists. Draw your own conclusions. If Darien is the gateway, can't we just slam this gateway shut and leave the other on the other side? We can, by killing the Count. But firstly, I am not sure that the other won't try to protect its gateway. And in that case, we would have to face it unprepared. And secondly, I am opposed to the idea on principle. Me too. Sometimes Inquisitors must make hard decisions. I have made a great many in my lifetime. For instance, I can kill a person possessed by a demon if he or she is at imminent risk of taking many lives and I have no time to perform an exorcism. But in this instance, the situation is not so critical. We have a way of fighting the other. I will not agree to commit cold-blooded murder, not even the murder of someone as disgraceful as the Count. I'll help you. Thank you. Now let's get over the entire operation once more. I am convinced that we must lure out the other somewhere far from Drezen and other populated places to avoid civilian casualties. I have chosen a suitable location in the World Wound. I'll mark it on your map. We must bring the Count there without alerting him to what's about to happen. I assume that another foray into the World Wound will hardly raise his suspicions. I will wait for you there and the ritual circle prepared. But before we reach the crucial moment, you must make the Count and the other believe that the Count is in danger. I suppose the easiest way to do that would to tell him that you've made a deal with the Mendev Inquisition, and the Count will have to face punishment for his crimes, real or imaginary. I'll find a way to intimidate him, but you must play along. We need to provoke the other to come out to protect its gateway. That's when we'll finish it off once and for all. This case will be my greatest triumph or my greatest failure, but I firmly believe that it must be done. Remember my words. The other must be convinced that we are not a threat to the Count. The other must be convinced that we are not a threat to the Count and that we know nothing of its existence. The slightest suspicion could prove fatal for us. Until we meet again, Commander, and may the gods be with us. Are we done now? God dang it! Ah! A pale, ghostly image appears in front of you. You recognize Lathamus the Antiquarian, the scholar that helped you some time ago. His translucent form flickers intermittently, and you have difficulty making out his words. Commander, it's Thymus. I won't be maintained. Spell for long. Open the door. Treasure room. Please hurry. What door? What are you talking about? The door to the dragon burial ground. The bell, the caves, remember? What? Did you manage to open the door? Yes. I won't enter without you. Waiting on your help. I'm on my way. I'll be waiting. Please, her. The vision of Lathamus flickers and fades. Come on! We're almost at 2 frickin' hours already. Commander, you look up and see Malesia, the green-eyed fisherwoman from the village of Chili Creek. Her hair is a mess, and her face and clothes are covered in soot. It looks as though she's traveled here in a hurry and met with a few dangers on the way. Help! Please help me! He's gone crazy! He will kill him! Calm down. What happened? Do you remember Jernach, the cleric who came to our village a year ago? The locals weren't very welcoming to him back then. After all, he was a stranger who was preaching about a strange new god. But little by little, he became one of us. He went fishing alongside us, and he told people stories about the crusade. He told us about meeting you and seeing the queen and the songs he used to sing. Just made you want to stop and listen. Well, eventually, the fisherwoman looks down. We became very close. We started to plan a wedding. My brother didn't seem to mind at first, but after we got married, well, that's when he lost it. He became violent. He threatened to hurt us. I tried to talk to him, but Melissa shakes her head sadly. We even thought about leaving the village, but when my brother found out, he lost his mind completely. Markiel is strong, and no one else in the village dares to challenge him. It was a miracle that I managed to escape. But my husband is still there. He didn't make it out of the village. I don't know what's happened to him. Please help us. What causes change in Markiel's behavior? Melissa looks away and softly responds, Markiel, he really honors the village tradition. We've been worshipping the river for many generations. He was not keen on having a cleric of a foreign god in the village, but he was willing to tolerate Jernah's presence for a while. However, my relationship with Jernah really disappointed Markiel, especially when he found out that I had begun to worship Erastil too. How did you get here? By some miracle, I guess. Everything is on fire out there, and all these monsters. But never mind me. I managed to survive. I made it here in one piece, but I am in serious trouble, and I have no one I can turn to for aid. Please help me. You're my only hope. All right, I'll help you. Thank you. I'll head back to the village. I'll do my best to keep him from flying into a rage, but please hurry. I'm afraid he might do something terrible. We done? Oh, thank goodness that was it. Okay, yay. All right. Thanks for putting up with this really long episode. I appreciate it. Again, like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. I appreciate it as well. I have been Sir Joseph. As always, you guys have been awesome. Until next time, stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you later.